first off, what would you do as mayor to reduce violence, specifically gun violence?
Specifically gun violence? Well, first of all, it's about education. I think we have to educate our children and our community about the importance of gun violence, how it affects each and every life in Macon-Bibb County. I do think that public safety is a key issue involving that. Some of the things I would like to do is have our police officers more community policing, being in the neighborhoods, back into the precincts they used to be in, and actually doing walking door to door and getting to know the community. We used to have a PALS program in Macon where the police officers actually interacted with the youth in various sports activities, and I think this gets a good relationship to there. Another thing I think about violence, and especially in young kids, is I like to see our local police officers have a better understanding of certain things about the community, as well as work well with the Board of Education resource officers we have to work with. I think they can learn a lot from each other that will help our community for teen violence. There's no doubt there's been rumored to have 150 officers shortage in Macon-Bibb County, and I believe that it's an important number. It's not because we're trying to lock everybody up, but it actually provides the most safer environment for everybody. For example, the shortage results in a lot of overtime for officers. And it's a scary situation for a parent whose child is pulled over at 12 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night getting off of work, or perhaps traveling back from a ball game somewhere, when an officer's been working from 3 o'clock that morning to 7 o'clock 7 o'clock that morning till 3 o'clock the next morning. It's not a safe environment for that officer. It's not a safe environment for that citizen. And I think when we talk about adding more police, we're talking about that type of situation where we can cut some of the overtime out and we can have an officer that's not overworked.
Can you talk a little bit about your Justice Works program?
Sure.
And how you think that might address some of the crime in our community?
Yes, I think the Justice Works program is an excellent opportunity. It's been hard to explain that in a short period of time on a soundbite at a forum or as a soundbite on a commercial. But everybody that I talk to in groups has really taken a hold of that. What it is, it's an alternative to prison. It's an alternative to sentencing. It's a voluntary program. It's not something that someone gets sentenced in for any type of free labor. But it's a situation where a person can go to work while they're incarcerated instead of going to prison, and they can actually earn an income that they'll get 100% of minus their room and board, if you will, during the week. And if they have child support obligations while they're there, it'll get taken care of. It's important to remember that I've done some research at the jail, and there's about 233 people the last time I looked that are in jail waiting to go to court. A lot of these are on probation, so they're not going anywhere, but they're waiting to go to court, and then they're going to have some type of a hearing or a trial. At least 100 of those could be in a less restrictive environment, like a transitional place, where they could go to work 8 to 10 hours a day. This is what we're trying to do, is we're trying to get them a trade, a skill. Some of them already have jobs, so we're trying to maintain those jobs, but it helps prevent homelessness when they get out. They've got a year that they've been in this system, and they've got a check stub that shows they've been working, so it's easier to get an apartment. But the other thing it does, it frees up 100 people at the jail, frees up about 24 officers, if you add some of the other things we will talk about on there. And those officers are already being paid by Macon-Bibb County. So it's not like we'll have to go out and hire these officers, locate them, train them, even recruit them. They're already being paid. So we're simply taking them out of the jail and putting them back on the road so they can relieve these officers to save some overtime, but also make it a better, safe community.
So in other words, you kind of shut down like a cell block or something, and all of the corrections officers who'd be working in that cell block would go out on the road for that portion? Right.
What I believe is we can almost shut down a whole wing of the jail. If you take 1 or 2 out, it's not going to make a big difference. This is not like the G wing where you go over there and wash police cars. These are real jobs that require some skills that they can be trained for. We have a lot of employers here as part of the workforce development as well. A lot of the employers here will hire this group of people. And the job doesn't stop when they get out. The other benefit of that is it keeps them current on their child support, gives them a job when they get out, but also it cuts down on recidivism. And it's something that will save Bibb County. The numbers range anywhere from $1.2 to $1.5 million in savings. If you don't do it on the front end, you're going to do it on the back end, because at the jail it costs about $55 a day to house an inmate. In this least restrictive environment, they're going to be gone half a day, and they're paying about $75 a week on average for room and board. You're looking at about $20 to $25 a day. So it's immediate savings to the taxpayers, which could be further put into that same police officers or public safety, including police and fire, account that you can pay these officers to recruit better officers, highly trained officers, and be able to not increase taxes.
Do you believe Mayor Rickard has done enough in terms of gun violence?
Well, I'm not sure what Mayor Rickard has done in regards to gun violence, to be honest with you. I think he's been a mayor for a long time, and certainly he has some things that he has done good. But I think the last couple of years has been a drop off. When people start talking about gun violence, you're not talking about a citizen who has a right to bear arms, and I certainly would never want to infringe upon that. Nor as mayor would I be allowed to do that. You're prohibited by statute to do that. You can have gun buybacks, you can have awareness, you can have education. Those are the main ways that you reach out. But you also reach out to the youth in other ways by having programs and activities for them to do, like after-school programs. And I'm not talking about just sports, even though that is a part of it. I'm talking about opportunities to get summer intern jobs and to work and to make some money. And I think when we start having that, like we're having now, some internships, that's going to open up the doors for a lot of these youth that are involved in this violence.
Yes, sir, please.
And I know your opponent also mentioned in a press conference, just I believe it was last week, that a lot of your solutions are more policing to a lot of the problems Macon is seeing. Do you think that is the case, or do you have a response to that?
I don't think it's a lot of policing is the answer to everything. It's multifold. I'm a member of the Bibb County School Board. It's education. You have to have a mayor that's willing to work with the educators and the school system here to make a difference. The most immediate need is a 150 officer shortage. Bibb County's been very fortunate that we haven't had one of these shootings recently like we've had on a national level and the crisis that we're in right now. We've been very fortunate. Part of that is because the majority of our sheriff deputies in Bibb County are African American. They more mirror the makeup of Macon Bibb County. But we don't pay them enough money. We may not hire the most qualified officers in the beginning and provide them enough of the training that they need. So it could be a concern. And of course, we don't have enough officers now. So it's not just putting boots on the ground and lock people up. It's being able to do the community police that we need, because we need to provide a safe environment for our people.
Probably waiting for the ambulance to go by. Right on cue. Safe environment for our people. There's the ambulance.
Can we get that in the background?
At least the siren, I'm sure we did.
Yeah.
I will. I'm just waiting for it. There we go.
Okay.
That'll be better. Now you were just talking about understaffing in the sheriff's office, and also you mentioned in the Justice Works program that some of those correctional officers will be back out on the street. But is there anything else that you can think of that could actually increase the numbers, try to fill the gap for those 150 vacancies?
Sure. I mentioned it before in some early interviews, and there's probably 20, 25 officers that are willing to come back to Macon Bibb County that only took the early outs because it made good financial sense for them and their families to do. They will be willing to come back. They're already trained. They're already certified. They don't need the benefits like health insurance. They don't need the retirement benefits, and they can work up to 20 hours a week. These same officers have proven a good track record. They will save us substantial money that we would normally pay an officer, but also give us the 20, 25 people that we already need. So you don't have to worry about recruiting officers. I think that's another way we could do it. We're also working on the possibility of having a career pathway from our school system, directly from a public safety perspective. And we don't want them just to be a police officer. We want to be able to advance maybe through some technical issues that you would have through criminal analysis or things that would involve STEM. And I think we could encourage that and get our students interested in that at an early age. It would also be formal recruitment, for the future. And I think we're working on that now by creating a pathway to something I think would be beneficial to Macon Bibb County.
And then a topic dozens of people marked on as a top issue in our listening lab earlier this year was salaries for first responders.